I didn't know. But they're pretty angry.
Yeah, that's what happens with.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 112 of Cali Brick Clique. And before we get into introductions, remember you can find this episode and all previous episodes anywhere you find podcasts: iHeart, Spotify, Apple, and of course YouTube. And like always, we have Ninja. Okay, we have Claire the Plastic Architect.
Yeah.
Oh, delay.
Hey guys, hey Ninja.
Good one. And today we have Marc, aka Brick Foundation. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, everything's good.
Hey, welcome. So today we got a little bit of some Lego news, not in actual Lego news, but like talking about it. So let's just get right into it. Marc, who are you? Why am I blurry?
Well, I guess the main thing I've become known as is going to be like the Lego news guy. Makes the Lego calendars every month, Lego leaks. But if you want to start back from when I got started with Lego, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Do that. Start from let's talk about your whole Lego journey. What brought you in? Because it's always very interesting to see where you come from.
Right. So the first set that kind of like that I was obsessed with, that I remember as a kid, was 6339. It was a Lego System Space Shuttle set, and like I remember going to Toys R Us and like just pining over that. I wanted that set so bad. That lasted I just remember playing with that set over and over again, maybe for about a good 5 years. And then I kind of grew out of Lego, got into like skating, playing music, and I didn't come back until I was maybe mid-20s, probably around like 25 to 27. And then I started playing around with, what was the set?
You were playing with it?
Yeah, actually playing with it. Because anything space related, like I literally will play with it. Yeah. If it's space related, like I'll take it apart. My favorite movie when I was growing up was Apollo 13. I was a nerd. I watched that movie like 100 times. So like anything space related, I will literally like kind of like put myself in like I'm the astronaut. I'm inside this thing. So yeah, anything like Lego related that's space, I will literally still play with it. A Spatial Discovery, I have it hanging up here. I built an astronaut from Lego Truman. Like I will play with those. But yeah, I think it might have been the space shuttle from 2010 or 2011. I can't remember when it came out. But that was my my first set back into Lego. But it still wasn't an obsession. It still wasn't something that was like, following any news or going into a Lego store to get. It wasn't until probably around 2019 when I started getting really back into it.
Was it the pandemic? I'm gonna ask.
It was actually right a year before the pandemic. Okay. So it was kind of one of those things where I transitioned jobs and I started having a lot more free time. I went from being something that I worked sales, so I was always working, to something that was salary based, and I had a lot more free time. And so I'd be able to come home and I would be bored sometimes, and I'm just gonna play with an old set. And then I started looking into going online, people talking about like this Batman set, and so that's what started me to get back into it. But the pandemic just definitely exacerbated that.
So you buy all the space stuff. So you buy all like. Do you buy like the Apollo stuff too, and all that?
I buy a bunch of Brickmania stuff too.
Oh man, that's a bold statement. Those are investment pieces, like, to say the least. I don't know how else to say that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, as long as it's space related, I'll buy it.
Yeah, so that's what brings me to the yard.
But there's a bit of a difference between like getting into it and like enjoying the hobby and like collecting sets to dedicating like real estate in your home to it, shelving, lighting, like, do you know what I mean? What made you like take that next leap? And then also, why were you like, what, I'm gonna get on social media with this, this is the next step? Because I feel like that's always kind of a jump for people, and people do it for different reasons.
Right. So my very first video, when I put out there, it wasn't supposed to be just any kind of like, I wasn't going to make more content. I was putting it out there for my nephew. He has autism, but he likes space related stuff. So I actually just I want to do a speed build of the space shuttle, and I just put it together and I put it out there for him to watch. And I thought that was going to be it. But then all of a sudden I really enjoyed making the little video. And I was like, you know what? I always said I always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I watched some of the Lego content was out there, and it wasn't something that I felt there was just something missing. I grew up, watching like Marquez Brownlee or Unbox Therapy, and I liked that level of professionalism as far as like like audio equipment and video. And so I wanted to try to make something more like that. That just that was over time. That kind of happened slowly.
Yeah, because I remember when you coming on, like your quality of your videos were pretty top notch, and there was not that many people that come into the community like that. I feel like now, if you come in like to stand out, you at least have to be at that level to at least gain a following at a quicker pace than over time. But not to say that you shouldn't just start with your phone. I mean, I totally recommend that if that's your thing. You could do a lot with that. You don't have to be all crazy like Marc.
You don't. So if you're just learning to just talk to a camera, that took a lot of time too, to realize, to get comfortable with looking at a lens and actually having a whole full conversation, to act like it's a real person. That took a long time. Do you like record by yourself in the house, or are you comfortable like talking? Because that's the thing. I'm comfortable talking, like if there's like family or like a girlfriend or something running around. I'll have a full on conversation and just all of a sudden just kind of like mutes out. But at first I was terrified. I was like, can you guys just leave me alone for right now? Just close the door. I was really embarrassed. I feel like when I make something and I'm overly enthusiastic, like my kids want to come in here and get involved because I'm enthusiastic. But like if I'm just like right now, my kids think I'm just on a conference call at work, so they're nowhere near the doors. But like when I have to be emotional in any physical like mental way of some sort, like I can't, like my wife can't be here. go to the back of the house or something. All right, so like why Lego News then? I was making content, but like the Lego sets that I already had, and kind of copying what I saw on YouTube already, and just kind of trying to see if I could do it different. And I believe someone sent me on Instagram. I just like kind of started making an Instagram page. I thought, this is all kind of fun. I want to make have a YouTube channel now. Maybe make an Instagram page. And someone sent me an image of the Lamborghini Sion. And I did not know that it was a leaked image. I didn't know anything about leaks. I didn't know anything, didn't know. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So I made a video about it. And that video, of course, it got a lot of views quickly. And then I started getting all these messages saying, watch out for your channel. These people I didn't even know, but they're just being nice. Like, have you heard of, what was the name of there was a channel that got taken away. And they're like, you're going to be just like them if you keep posting Lego leaks. I was like, I've never posted Lego leaks. I didn't even know this was a leak.
The brick show.
Lamborghini Sion.
So I was thinking.
Yeah, it was a brick show. That was like
brick show. There you go.
Yeah, that was the famous one. So you said, screw it. I'm gonna just keep going anyways.
Well, it was one of those things. I was like, I didn't take it serious. It's like, okay, well, like, who am I? I had like 130 followers. It was subscribers. It was like, okay, if Lego comes after me, they're really bored.
You're like, whatever.
I didn't really doing anything.
That means you're doing something right.
I know, like a couple of weeks ago, a bunch of huge like leaks were published out there from like the mass, and it was an accident to Lego. A lot of that content has been taken down,
right? Which
only solidifies the fact that these are all coming out, obviously with Rivendell like coming out as well. That kind of like, okay, these are most likely, if 50 to 75% chance that all these sets are going to be made. We know Lego, and these are, a lot of these little Instagram pages with like very minimal followings all had to take down their stuff.
Right.
So I barely, if anything, see anything from even the major leakers out there that keeping those photos up. So Lego does care to an extent. And I remember when you came in, there was a time, I think it was that time when you were like starting to do a lot of Lego news, where the Lego community in general, like there was a bunch of LAN fight over like having like pushing information out, because I know like people that were in the LAN community were getting pissed off because now it takes away from them and stuff like that. So you started getting a little bit of flack with anyone who's a leaker, like because you were painted a bad picture. So there are some pros and cons to this. And what do you think some of like the pros are about being a like Lego news, in case anybody like wants to continue it?
And if you have some information that people are wondering that and you're privy to the insider information, it's going to be an easy way to get views, to get eyes, especially if it's something it's a set that's really has a lot of followers. My first video, and it was trending to be really well. It was my next leak video right after the Sion. It was the Diagon Alley.
Mm-hmm.
I got an image of it, and this is already. I think I just passed like 1,000 subscribers. I was really excited, and then I got this image, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to make content about that. And I messed with the thumbnail to make it kind of look like that. I had it, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was good for a week, and it was at 30,000 views, and I was really, really excited. But for like 30,000 views, and you have 1,000 subscribers, man, I was so excited.
Oh yeah.
And that was my first copyright strike. All of a sudden, boom, Lego comes in. And I thought I was good because I heard people that were already posting the video or images of it already having been taken down like the first day. And I lasted a week, and I was like, okay, maybe they don't care. And then, but nope, they can't make after me. And then they threatened, a lawsuit. At first, it was terrifying. I was like, man, this is what they can really do. And then they came after me over 2 other videos, but those 2 other videos that I did were like a Bugatti Chiron, but that's been out forever. And they went after old content saying that those images were copyrighted. So I got almost 3 strikes, but not even for images that were leaked. So they were mad about the Diagon Alley, but then they went after anything that I had an image of Lego, any kind of Lego. It doesn't matter if it was like relevant or if it was old set. They came after me. So that's when I was like, okay, well, if they're going to do that, screw it. I'm going to go after them. I literally told them, I'll see you in court.
Wow.
So, okay. What, like, Lego is a large company with a team, like a legal team. I'm not going to assume anything about your life or financial background or anything like that. Usually when there's an individual versus like a larger legal team of like a larger either like company or conglomerate or whatever it is, people tend to step away from it, or there's like a high risk, obviously, of like doing that, and like maybe a little bit of like delusion of like fighting against something like that. So I'm curious, like, you don't seem like someone who's like deluded. So even like in the few minutes that we've been talking, I'm really curious, like, what gave you, like, what knowledge base do you have? What confidence did you have? Like, why were you like, I don't care, I'm fine to fight them? Or were you like, they're not going to see this through? I'm really curious, like, what.
No, the big thing is my initial thing as far as me posting the leaked image of Diagon Alley, I knew that was my risk of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But them going after something petty, as far as something images that were not copyrighted, but just anything that had any of their content in it, they just randomly picked videos.
Right.
So if this is going to be just either an algorithm, or they're just trying to make me nervous. There are a lot of protections that we have here posting images, especially if they've been edited, which mine are highly edited. I could still use a lot of images that were supposedly copyrighted, but as long as I make a majority of an edit and do something to them, they can't come after me legally on legal bounds. So I was like, okay, they have me on Diagon Alley because I didn't mess with that enough. The other ones, they don't. But if they're going to come after me anyway, fine.
So when you say algorithm, you mean like, was it a bot that was like trying?
Right,
think like maybe they were like
go out and they'll test.
They were like sifting through your information. They're like, this popped up.
Right.
So okay, I agree with you. Like, obviously, there's like technicalities and specifications and definitions of, our legal rights of whatever. But there's also being in the like right, and then there's our legal system in the United States. It doesn't matter if you're in the wrong or in the right. It's still like a drainage of time and money and resources. So do you know what I mean? So even like a lot of people, even though they know they're right, like there's a reason people settle out of court. There's, there's like the system that we have, it doesn't really benefit anybody to go to court. You know what I mean? Like nobody really wins unless it's like some major class action, right? And that, like, this is obviously not that case. So there's still a risk. People are always like, I know I'm right. And it's not about being right or wrong. It's also being okay seeing this through. And I feel like there was probably, tell me if I'm wrong, like, was there an element of confidence that you're like, the PR for Lego to do this would be a disaster? Them to go after an individual with 1,000 subscribers, I'm just a person, as like a separate adult who's like never really done anything wrong, and they're going to come attack me, and they're seeming like this like family-friendly company. Was there some kind of thought? Because I know a lot of people have thought that as well.
Well, right. I'm pretty stubborn.
Okay.
So, and I have from what I worked in the background, I worked a lot with corporate lawyers.
Uh-huh.
And I know how with a company that size, they're not very organized. And so a lot of with Lego and a lot of large companies, it is a lot of barking.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it came down to it, the probability of them coming after me is very, very small. So actually, it's easier for them to bark, send out a notice, and then they don't ever respond back. If you ever get one of those notices and you're like, hey, what did I do wrong? Blah, blah, blah. It's just nothing. It's just, they'll never respond back. So it's
that's interesting.
My probability to me was, okay, if they go about this, it's fine. Okay. I've dealt with people like this before. I didn't mind taking it. It's like, if I was in the wrong with the Diagon Alley, that's my fault. I 100% believe that. But the other images, no, that was just them asserting their dominance.
Right.
Okay.
Which
so
of course they're doing.
That, then now I'm ready to play ball.
I guess like also like what, the problem with Lego, I mean, this isn't a problem, but the problem with, I guess from maybe your perspective, they're also like partnered with companies, like much larger companies too, like Disney and the IPs and things like that. So I guess that's where I think things get kind of scary, as in like the latest leaks that came out and were taken down. A lot of that was like partnerships with companies that might hint at, leaks in movies and just like larger deals. So there's actually like significant financial loss for them. Mm-hmm. And like that's, to me, that's maybe like the scary part a little bit. It's not just like Lego, but I guess from your perspective, if you're like, these guys are disorganized, like I know that it's just a lot of barking, the amount of organization, the team effort that would have to happen between, let's say, Disney and Lego, or, whatever, to actually get together, and like not just Disney, but like Marvel within Disney or whatever it is to get together, is so far reaching. And I would have to be millions of dollars of impact to do that. Was that kind of maybe what you were thinking?
Back then. So if you notice certain things that I do not post anymore in regard to, once having, I did not have any kids back then. So once I had my daughter, it's kind of like, all right, it's no longer about me and my, I should say arrogance, but it's so
it's perfect.
It's safe. It's safer for me to now. It's like, I weigh the risk, and I have a people that I'll talk to, and I'll be like, okay, tell me not to post this. Go, and they'll have a conversation with me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so, okay, you know what? Everything you've said is better than any rebuttal that I could have, so I will not post a video. And that's exactly what happened with all those that Major League. I said, man, it's not worth it for me. It's not worth the risk, and also because I am a Lego affiliate, so it is also a financial loss to me to post certain things. Like, if it involves Disney, I usually don't touch it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you.
Add Nintendo to that.
Very protective of their copyright.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit different with Warner Brothers, because I worked for AT&T for a long time, and also in the division when they bought Warner Brothers and everything. And it's chaos. They don't know what they're doing, but Disney does.
Yeah, and they've gone after like Etsy sellers. They've gone after like the smallest and the biggest. So that's kind of why I brought it up. And I agree with you. I feel like I don't have kids yet, but in my head, I'm very much like in that, like what my risk, like let's say I've never done like a leak video, but like, let's say I wanted, or it doesn't matter, even like when I'm driving on the road, and if I like drive recklessly, you're opening yourself up to risk, right? And it's like, what is that risk? That is my entire, like all my assets and the inheritance or whatever I could give my child or your child. You know what I mean? And it's like, it gets to be so compounding that you're like, what is this worth? And I think a lot of people don't do this in their regular life, like other than, obviously like a Lego leak video seems like an obvious thing to think about the risk, but I think a lot of people also don't think about it with like the way that they operate day to day, which is, to be honest, probably a much bigger risk. Like if they have a couple drinks before they get in the car, if they, you can list them off over and over again. And it's like the people that you're impacting is so far, hopefully if you have a community and stuff, it's so far reaching beyond yourself. I think it's like a really, maybe that's the line between like childhood and adulthood. Not to get into that, but I think it's like really fascinating that like you having a kid, becoming a dad, you were like, okay, wait, I'm thinking about somebody other than myself and my ego or my arrogance, whatever it is. But I mean, there's got to be something fun to like sending Lego or just a large company an email being like, I'll see you in court. Like
Those are pretty balls right there, man.
Yeah, but it was to the point because they didn't respond. Because my first initial one with Diagon Alley, it was like remorseful. Like I was just, I like a puppy. I was like, I'm
like
so
tail between
sorry,
your legs.
and like all this is just, I really enjoy your product since I was like in 1995. I went basically the whole thing to spiel like, this is space shuttle and all that. And they didn't respond back. And then all of a sudden they just did they copyrighted 2 other videos. And then I was like, hold on. So, okay, this is their response. Okay, fine. So it's a regular company. Fine. If it's just a regular company, then I can be just a regular consumer and I can just do whatever I want. But again, that's also just me being, that's how I am. So it's one of those things. Okay, well, at least that's how it was before. Mm-hmm. Different now. I probably would have handled it differently now.
That was your taking off the rose tinted color glasses off, be like, you are a company. I think that's a big epiphany for a lot of Lego fans, especially diehards, when they realized, especially with like, the BTS set that just got announced. Shout out to JB. That dude, they're doing this straight up for money. They're not doing this for you. This set's not for the Lego fandom. Like if you're a BTS fan, you're a BTS fan, but this is going to bring in a lot of cash outside, because of that world. But I will say,
fault them for doing it either.
You can't. And the flack on that's ridiculous. But like, neither here or there. We're going to talk about that in a couple weeks. But like, with JB. But like, I remember this whole fiasco with the whole with the Diagon Alley thing, and it didn't just impacted you, and it actually hit a lot of people. Like I think that was when he had a new Lego, whoever's in charge of the land. I think that he just popped up, or the previous one just got let go. There were other leakers that were out there that would do Lego news that were getting in trouble as well. Land started doing a whole shift with not being able to post or report on leaks, images, all that kind of stuff, and that kind of some people left that world. Some people it was a whole thing. It was a mess. And you got brought up a bunch of times as an example of like, okay, so why are we getting destroyed? Why, all that kind of stuff. And now, like, as long as you're not the initial person to throw it out there, you're kind of safe to report on. But as long as it doesn't have that confidential logo, that's the big, like, do not touch if it has a confidential logo. I think you could applaud yourself for kind of changing the game a little bit with like Lego news and leaks and stuff. I think you should give yourself a little bit more credit. Then I just got 2 strikes and screw you, Lego. I think you did a lot more than that. But one thing that makes you different than a lot of other leakers and news channels out there is that you show your face. That is some ballsy stuff, especially if you're doing some like not kind of shisty stuff against the company. Like, what is that? Like, why do that? Like, a lot of people show their avatars of Lego figs, if that, especially at the time when you came around. Why? Right. Yeah, why so much effort?
I mean, again, there wasn't much thought into that, really. It had nothing to do with, trying to show my face and trying to show off into the company. It was just, it was what the YouTubers I grew up with did. And so I wanted to emulate them. I told you before, Marquez Brownlee, watched Unbox Therapy. If you even noticed at the beginning when I first started, I even looked up what lenses they used. Okay, I was like, okay, what's the 14 millimeter? And it's a lower lens, and this is the aperture of the camera, and this is the lighting they used. Mm-hmm. I liked that format. I just didn't see it in the Lego community, so I was like, okay, well then I want to do that. It had nothing to do with really just showing my face for any other reason. Just I wanted to kind of have that look.
You wanted that aesthetic. Yeah. Right. I mean, I think it's because like most of the people in the YouTube space or Lego YouTube space are like a bunch of teenagers that probably can't afford a single one of those lenses.
Turn the camera and go.
I don't know. The first lens that I used, man, it was cheap. It was like $50.
I mean, like if you ever go, I don't know if you've ever been to one of the Lego conventions, but you'll see like the average consumer of some of the big Lego channels like Ryan's and stuff, and $50 for a 15-year-old. That's a Lego set. That's a Lego set, Mark. That's always like the thought process. But that's the nice thing about being an adult and making like content is you can like Shy loves also like investing in nice pieces of camera equipment and stuff. But that's also a separate hobby as well. That's part of the experience and part of the product that you're producing. Like I was telling you that I was watching some of your mod videos that are really fun, and like one of them, I think the pyramid did really, really well. I'm like, where is he? Is this in his house? Does he have a studio? Like, you know,
Because
and
it's
it's
like all
kind of
black.
or like there's one that's like all white, you know, or like you've obviously like moved one of your couch chairs, you
I'm
know.
about to say, is he in a warehouse? Like, where? Yeah, is his house this minimalistic all over the place?
So we, you know, I just moved into a new place and it's bigger than I've ever like lived in, and we like don't know what to do with like a couple of the rooms, and I was like, do we
We're
just
also from Cali, so like our houses here are small.
yeah, it's like I have 1,200 square feet, but like, you know, I just moved somewhere else. But you know, I like to make content, and so I'm always thinking like, how do they do it? What are they doing? Especially relative to the size of the channel. You know, it seems like you've got a whole production set up, which is like really kind of fun to watch and be like, what's he doing? Like, how is that? But you don't have to like share all your secrets. But it's
No, I don't mind. It's so there is a studio space. It's very tiny. It was my office, but I cleared everything out. It's easy to make things look really black when you have a macro lens. It's because it takes a lot of light just to even show the product. So there could actually be a well-lit room, but I'm focusing on that
so it's blocked
the
everything
pyramid.
else out.
So it blocks out, and you don't really have to do much of that, but it does make the space seem larger.
It makes it seem huge. It seems like, yeah, it's so fun. And then I love that you like drop your parts collection. Like you have the really nice like husky like tool chest and you like pull it out. And I'm like, wait a second. This is like a whole other side to him that like I did not know he had.
Right?
There's a whole parts collection. Like I want more. I want less of these news videos and more of these
Same.
mods and stuff like that. So is that, you know, you mentioned when we were chatting before recording that was the mods was the initial
Right.
direction.
That was what I initially wanted to do, was make content of stuff that I was creating. It kind of snowballed into the Lego news because I had a blast honestly doing this because it was so quick and easy to I would plan out videos before and make these videos, and it would take a long time to make, and then you'd get maybe like 100 to 200, 300 views. And then all of a sudden you make a leak video or a news video, and you sit down for 15 minutes. Maybe it takes a little bit longer to do some edit because you throw some things in there, but it doesn't take a week. So, and it's fun. It's fun to just be quick and throw it out there, and you see the immediate response. You know, you definitely get the endorphin rush. But after a while, from my creative self, it's not fulfilling all the time. So that's what happens. It's like, okay, well, that was fun, and I still want to do it. I still like talking about Lego news, but I really enjoyed making the pyramid video. I really enjoyed making the Van Gogh video.
That was great.
It felt fun. And so I was like, man, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, I had a blast making that video. And I do want to do more of that. Like I want to do something with the cabin, or that just came out, the A-frame. And there's lots of things that I have that I want to do, start going towards that model.
I think that would be great. Like I would, as a consumer of Lego content, I would love to see more of that, especially because there's also there isn't somebody with your setup and as like the visual setup and like that's mimicking, you know, all those like mega like tech YouTubers and unboxing or whatever, you know, there isn't that in the Lego space to that degree. So that would be like a cool niche to like fall into. But also I think if you like step back a little bit, you know, that pyramid video did incredibly well. It was packaged really well. And when I say package, I mean like thumbnail and title, which is, you know, as we all know, 90% of it, if not more. And doesn't that have more potential to grow over the long term than
yes,
a short term? Yeah, a short term video.
Videos, even if they don't initially, there's a video I made. Right? I think the Beatles art set came out, and I made a video of that, and it didn't do well at all when I first put it out there. And all of a sudden, you just kind of go back 2 or 3 years later, and it's just slowly creeping up. It's like, I don't know, I forgot, it's like 30, 40, 50,000. Just so we'll do like a steady like incline. News videos, after that week, it's done. Like it's, you know, that's your viewership. That's what you got.
It's dead in the water. Yeah, exactly. Like people's excitement it fizzles and dies. And also that excitement is specifically niche to the Lego YouTube community, while the other content is much more widespread, right? It's got just a potential that's much more interesting. I think the space for mocks is really, really big. I think it's a lot bigger than a lot of us really anticipated, because I think for a while, at least like 2 years ago, if you look back at any of like our content here on Cali Brick Clique, we've always talked a lot about content creation and potential for the Lego space. It felt like the cap was really, really low. And then the last about year, it feels like that's been lifted in a pretty exponential way. And it's really interesting to see where that's going, especially with like some of the bigger city channels and, you know, what some of the younger guys are doing with their faster pace, more YouTube meta videos. And it's really, I think we've also talked about how it's like a good thing for all of us. And there's always been a space for highly produced, highly edited, highly shot audio, all that stuff. That has always, like, if there's two people that are exactly the same and one has like better visuals, they're always going to like do better. But also, like, not to like totally disregard, like, I think some of those young guys are still doing it on their phones and they're like, you know, just smoking everybody.
If they have a great story, they can definitely do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think there's like a space there, and it'd be really cool. I don't know. I completely understand. Like, for a little bit, like, I was doing like haul videos, and you get that endorphin rush, and you're like, oh my God, like my biggest videos are like, and Shy still does sometimes every once in a while, like stupid epic whatever haul, you know.
I told myself, like, I'm done.
I spent $1,000. I spent 10,000. I think you see everybody doing them, right? And it's like they're kind of that low hanging fruit. I'm not to like, you know, be insulting, but like the news videos and like those haul videos are those like low hanging fruit videos, and they're so fun to do and you get so excited. But like, if you are internally a creative person, the burnout is quite quick with it, I think. Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know, sometimes when you don't have the energy, grab that low hanging fruit and just go ahead and, you know, and take it. Yeah. But then also just realize, you know, there's something, you know, when you climb that train, you go really, really far up at the top. There's something about achieving something that's really difficult. But yeah, I still enjoy the news videos and I like that content. But it's one of those things where I'm trying to see if it should fracture, because I do have my site that it's kind of more, that's what I was trying to do. It's like, okay, well, if I have my site, maybe I could just splinter off the news segment into, say, just like Brickfo, that would be the channel. And then maybe Brick Foundation will kind of veer off into something more mods,
that's
highly
exactly
produced
what I was
content.
gonna ask.
Yeah. There's some other people that have been doing news for quite some time, and then have now done different type of content and are seeing a significant drop in their viewership. Not saying that their content's crap or anything. It's just actually gotten a lot better. It's just, you know, the people who subscribed to you in the very beginning didn't come to you for that. They came for news.
Exactly.
So, you know, I'm in that same position where I'm like, I've completely shifted my focus. Before, it was mainly like military Lego stuff, like Brickmania, Brick Veteran, all that kind of stuff. And for me, it was just financially, this is probably a dead end. It's not a good idea to keep going this way with all my content. I'd rather just do, you know, more obtainable stuff, even though I'm buying like 2,000 Black Falcons.
But you'll figure out a way to spend that.
Yeah, I know. But you know, it's 2,000 Black Falcons, Lego tank. So like, I could do more with the Black Falcons. And you know, how I want to gear towards like making dioramas and stuff with them, because obviously I'm not gonna just end just by buying them. But like, I definitely saw a shift in what people come to my channel for, because now it's not the Lego military community anymore. It's now the Lego community, and doing collabs with my friends and stuff out there. I'm bringing in their audience who cares nothing for the Brickmania stuff, you know what I mean? So I've been in this hodgepodge of a mess for like the past year and some change, and I'm finally starting to see a little push in a specific direction, which I'm enjoying. So it's gonna take a minute to, like, if you were just to shut down news, it's gonna take a minute to build that that audience that come to you for the mods, which I think it's not gonna be difficult for you anyways, because you have, like, even your news videos are well edited. I don't think, like, you know, it's not going to be a complete like shock and awe, but I feel like you have a core audience. Like, if you're getting 30,000 views every video for your news, and you're getting 15K for the mod video, 15K people watching your stuff for the mod, that's still pretty good. And that's the core audience.
Initially, that was my disappointment.
Yeah,
I was like, oh well. But it's one of those things where you do kind of step back. You're like, you know what? That's not bad for something that's people are not expecting for me to put out there.
Yeah.
But again, it's just one of those things where I'm like selfishly, I enjoyed it way more. It's like I don't even care that it didn't get the views because it took a month to shoot that because life happens.
Yeah.
But it was after finishing, like finally saying, complete, Final Cut Pro done. You're just like, okay, that was way more satisfying than finishing a video in a day.
Oh yeah, like
It's like
especially
a real project.
when you get real fast, and I'm sure like the news videos, like you probably took you a few hours to do it at the beginning, and now they're like 8 minutes out the door or something crazy like that. But like probably not, maybe like 25. But I think Shy, I kind of disagree with you. I disagree with you that like that's a good thing. It's a good thing that those 15,000 people or whatever watched that video. But I think stepping back, doing the news videos with those mod videos is a detriment to the mod videos. So essentially, like if those mod videos, like the one that has 500,000 views, almost like the pyramid, that's a lot of viewership. And then people are like, oh, cool, this is awesome. I want to see like what else this guy does, what other mods, and they go to his channel and they see news videos and they're like, absolutely not, and then so that even though you've had like 500,000 or what, I don't even know what your impressions are when you do something like that, or like what your click-through rate is, but it's really, you've got at least 500,000 people seeing your content, and they're probably staying. The retention's probably good because it's like a 3.5 minute video. I really looked at it yesterday. I thought it was like a really well done thing. And the thing is like it's unfortunate because you probably, if someone had come to that video and they had seen like 10 more mods, you probably could have gotten like 25K more subs from it.
On my channel for a while.
Exactly. And so I think there's a lot of creators, not just in the news space, but like, even like city creators or people that are like kind of all over the place. Like you can't do vlogs and city videos and hauls and news and reviews. It just becomes a disaster. And it's like, it's really unfortunate because YouTube is just not set up like that. And the way that like consumption of content, it's not set up like that. It's like people want the same thing, I think, over and over again. And like I think Ryan's a really good example of that. Sans, my partner's really brought it up a few times. Like he M&R Productions, he was like mixing his vlogs in for a while, and a couple of years ago he split off the vlog channel. And that vlog channel has grown really slowly, but consistently. And over the course of a couple of years, now it's hitting 100,000 views. While before it was, bringing it down. Anyway, that's him. That's the guy who quoted that. But, I think that's a really good example of that, that even you can't just be like, I do Lego content and do whatever you want in it. You have to even pick that specific niche. Exactly. Like mine, I only like on a much smaller scale, I just did a video that for me was like a big jump in terms of editing and like a lot more effort. And it was a really big departure from my previous content. My previous content was more like the vloggy lifestyle stuff. It was really easy to do. I had a few niches that were specific to like my background because I'm an architect, and that's about it. And then I did this video and I had that same feeling when I clicked publish, produce, and upload. It's like, it's so awesome. And especially because like I'm used to like 5-year turnarounds for projects, like even a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it took, honestly, like took me 6 months because it was like an emotional, like, issue to get it done. But that feeling was so good. And it lasted like 2 weeks rather than like 10 minutes with the other stuff. And you can like kind of ride that into your next video or whatnot. And so I have that issue. So it's like 7,000 people, over 8,000 people saw that video, and I got like 400 new subs, but I could have gotten 1,000 new subs if I had 10 other videos that were the same thing on my channel. And I don't know, that's like, it's such a bummer because like I love those like vloggy stupid videos just like you love the news videos. And I don't know why. Is it ego? Is it like why is it so hard to like separate those two and like start over? Like I think it's hard for a lot of people. I'm curious, like how you feel about it.
It's definitely, there's definitely ego involved, but it's going to be one of those things where like it took me 3 years to get here.
Yeah.
Now to say, okay, well, separate it, detach it from yourself, because it is like you're separating a part of yourself again, and you're moving it to something completely separate and new, and to try to convince the same people again to say, hey, you know what, can you follow me twice? That's going to be it requires more effort. Is it a smarter thing to do? Is it one of those things just like, if you're if you're trying to go on a diet, you're like, all right, next week. All right, the next week is when I really will start eating right, because it's the initial just getting it done, making that additional channel, actually posting content to that additional channel. It just, the amount of people that actually will go ahead and go through with it, create the second channel and not forget about it and still post there and still put as just as much effort in advertising that channel, 2 channels now versus just one. It's a lot of ask. And so if you're able to do it the quicker you can, I believe it's the smart thing to do. It's just, it's one of those things, just like, getting on that treadmill.
But I think it's also to like add on to the metaphor of working out. Like no one ever regrets working out. You always feel better after just even your first one, even if you're about to die.
It's like if you just go to the gym, you're like, no, it wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, wow, that that was great. I feel so good. Do I look ripped? And like, you're like, I probably lost 5 pounds, like that like literally like whatever chemical reaction you're having in your brain. I've said this to a lot of my friends, and I think I've said it even to people here. It's like, I mean, how many subs are you at now? Like 50K or 40K or something like that?
46. I'm thinking about 46 right now.
Okay, let's say 50K, right? 50K, like if for some reason you're able to figure out how to have a channel with like 2 million, 1 million, 200K, 500K, not to like completely disregard your 50K, but like they're irrelevant. You know what I mean? At the same time, and it's kind of a hard thing to say, and I think to accept, to be like, what are those 50K? What are those? I think what's like your average view on a video? It's like, maybe it's just those 30K or 15K or whatever it is, whoever's watching consistently, that's who you're saying, see you later, or you stay here, hang out here, like, and watch my news videos. And then the rest of you, all you new people, you'll have to come over. I think that's really scary. I think there's like something fearful about it. But if you kind of maybe like, how like there's a lot of situations in finances and, like balancing a portfolio or a checkbook, you equalize things. And it's almost like setting the new bar. That 50K is the zero, like re-zeroing, your subscribers. And then I think that kind of helps maybe put things in perspective. I don't know how your brain works, but for me, that's like what helps. I'm like, well, also I only have like, 3,500. So I'm like, they're trash. Thank you, friends, for my
cold-blooded.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, if I want to do well, in theory, well, first my issue is I need to upload, but like, if I want to do well, like, what does it matter, right? Like, split it off. Get rid of the vlogs. No one cares about you going to Costco with your boyfriend,
I care. I care about you going to vlogs.
Yeah, but you're my friend. You're my friend. That's it. Sam was like, just make it members content. If people actually care, they'll pay for it.
There you go. Make it members content, right?
Yeah.
That still blows my mind that people actually do that though. I don't think specifically in the Lego community, many people do memberships.
There's a couple people that do it, but they're not like significant. Like they don't have like big Patreon or like big, like big, like secret content or whatever. Like I think like Emily from Emmasaurus, she has a really strong member like count. Like it's mind boggling. Like people just absolutely love her. Absolutely love, she's a good friend of mine. Absolutely love watching her going shopping. I don't know why, they absolutely love it. And it's the same thing, and it is a formula, and it works well, and curious. Okay, so Emily just hit, she was at like 55K. 126. 126. She was at like 55K like a couple weeks ago. We were actually with them in Disney World having a great time, and then she's like, yeah, the shorts program kicked in, let's see what happens. And she uploaded this really great short, like we can dissect it, and it's fantastic, and it's got full of engagement and stuff, and I think it's got over 5 million views now. Wow. And over the last 2 weeks, she went from 55K to 126,000 subscribers. And it's awesome to see. And I don't want to get into like, was it a good or bad thing? Is that a good or bad thing for a channel? I don't want to get into that. But I'm curious what your opinions are on shorts, because in my head, I kind of think of shorts very similarly to news videos in terms of like the quick grab, the like quick attention seeking thing. And I really haven't seen shorts coming from your end.
Right. So it's one of those things where with my news, it is very quick. The only thing is like the amount of time that I put into as far as like the editing when I use graphics, and that does take a while. And the problem is with me is I do have a level of quality that I like. For me to say, okay, just do a short, I end up overthinking it. I end up wanting to do way more, and then I end up just freezing and not doing anything. So
I know a few people like that. Yeah.
So it happens just like I'm like, okay, this is a great idea, but then it's not gonna look that good. I don't know that I can't do that, but then I can't do that, and then I overthink it, and then nothing ever gets done on the short end. To me, for me, I don't enjoy shorts, and so it's like one of those things. It's like I started this YouTube to do something that I wanted to do. It's like, okay, fine, I get it. It's to get engagement, to get people to watch. I did one that was kind of fun. I did a Optimus Prime mod for the face. And I think that one has around like 500,000 or 600,000 views. That would probably be the only way I would be able to do it, though.
Your smaller mods that you wouldn't do a full video on?
Like just quick, boom, boom, boom.
Not a bad idea.
Enjoy that. But that would probably be the only way I would do shorts. But
that could also be
what we're talking about now to the separate channel.
That could also be one of the ways. I mean, the correlation between a short that's just a smaller mod versus a video that's a longer mod. I'm going to reference Sans again. Shorts can sometimes really give you a lot of empty subscribers unless there's like a really, really tight correlation between the shorts video and the full length videos. And there is a Minecraft channel that has like been really successful at having that correlation between the two. I love how he leaves the room. But he was like, they've done it really well because essentially like the guy has a really small world in Minecraft, like smaller than average. I'm literally repeating. I barely even know anything about Minecraft, but it's a smaller world than average. And in the, he just makes updates to it. And in the shorts, it's a very quick update. And then in the video, it's a much longer version of that same update or like, more extensive of it. And it seems like the mods, like a really small mod, or maybe like, let's say on the pyramid, you did like 6 different changes to it.
Right.
And one of the changes is in the short and the other 5 are in the video or something like that, just as an example. That feels like it could be pretty cool. I don't know. Honestly, like you don't have to take my advice. I just think I like talking about content.
It makes a lot of sense. The only issue that I run into with something as far as like I would love to take long form content and easily just break it up into segments.
Shooting it
would be the smartest thing as far as workflow. The only issue that it comes down to is, especially with something like the pyramid or something like that, would be it wouldn't make too much sense only because of the small amount of real estate you have on the video for it to actually make sense into a short. And so when I shoot it, a lot of things will be either you'd have to be dead center, and I would have to shoot a lot of wide angle shots to encompass a full frame of what I'm actually changing. But it would be a lot more planning. It'd probably be smarter to do that. But like I can say going forward, doing a large video, multiple segments as far as multiple mods, and then breaking it down to short form. But just take more planning to do the shots.
It would take more time, yeah, because like shooting for vertical and to be visible on a phone is completely different than like doing, and you can tell when someone's like shot for a regular video and they've cut it down for a short. Yeah. It's very visually aggressive and you don't want to watch it. So yeah, I mean, we've had a couple TikTokers on here, some of the big ones, and a couple of them they're like, I have 2 different setups for each. And if I were you, I don't really actually enjoy the filming process. I used to like it like years ago. I don't enjoy like getting the latest gear. I don't like it. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we like haven't had a lot of space. And every time I buy something, it is anxiety ridden. And I think if like I had a dedicated space, it would be a little bit different. Like I love spending money, don't get me wrong. And so I think that, and that's a great way too. But I think that like if that's like something you love, it's like that's like another way of like, getting further into the camera filming and setup and but it's a lot of planning. And it is very much not a news video at that point, and it's cool though. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for you to like do more of those mods. Like if you need encouragement for it, you're getting it from me and I'm sure and everybody else. Like it's cool to see that.
I like partnering up with different mods because I'm not like I'm kind of closed-minded to the builds that I like. Like I would have never done the mod video for Optimus Prime, but I actually reached out to somebody. I was like, I liked what he did. I would have never done it. I would have never came to my mind to do it. And I said, they did the instructions and everything. I was like, do I have permission? Do you give me permission to do this video? I'll put your name on there and just let me film it. And they were like 100% yes, go ahead. And that was so fun for me because it's like I had a whole storyboard written out for me, and I love that. But doing it myself is a little bit different because a lot of people, when you do a mod, they're like, okay, what's the piece count? What are all
the instructions?
I'm like, man, I'm not good at that. That's not me. Like I said before, I don't even like planning anything. And so just for me to go through that, I would love just to find partnerships with the people that do mods, but a lot of people that do mods don't want to give out their information. Because I've asked, I'm like, hey, I love what you did here. Would you mind? They're like, oh, sorry, no, I don't give you permission. Okay, that's fine. And you just move
interesting.
on.
You've reached out to people. So it's like there's also a bunch of channels that have been like set up on like doing essentially rubricable stuff. So it's people that have already like packaged, their stuff out. That's kind of a version of it. But also it is, if you are specific about what you want to do, then obviously it's like hard to find. That's really interesting. Would you be okay just like doing the mods yourself and like just not giving people instructions? Like, I think there's a lot of channels out there that just are like, just look at what I do. Like, I think like Hashiroku, right? He does like all mocks, right? They're not even mods. They are mocks. And like he maybe has done a couple mods here and there. I don't think the guy does instructions, but the format of his video seems like you can, in theory, like do exactly what he's doing. You can't really.
No, it's too hard. Like reverse engineer what he does.
You can't really. Hard. No.
It's a pause every like 2 seconds.
Great retention.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, like, that's a really cool. I didn't realize that your Optimus Prime one was a collab video.
Mm-hmm. It was. It makes it. That was so easy to do. That's the reason why I was like, man, I don't mind doing a short with that. It was just when everything's planned out already for me. It's just like, oh, that just made it so much simpler. Okay, that's what the instructions are. We can go ahead and do that. The plan. Lego Truman was another one I like to work with. He's really open about any of his ideas. So I like working with him. He's the one that let me do the astronaut video. So that was something that going forward, whenever he makes anything, I'm always like, hey, do you mind if I do it? He's usually open to it.
I mean, it would be smart if these creators like had instructions on, let's say, one of their website that they could sell, and you were in theory, you were just like trafficking over people.
Yeah.
And
right, that's exactly what I try to.
It's like a symbiotic relationship,
Right. I don't want the money from it or anything like, but I enjoy the building. Let me film it, and I would direct them to your site. Mm-hmm. I just enjoy the filming process and try to storytell how to build it. But yeah, if you guys know anybody that is willing to, that likes doing mocks and has something done, shoot them my way.
But you got to establish yourself as like a mock guy or a mod guy now. That mod guy, which is like, I think you still have the lingering news thing, right? It's not lingering. I mean, you're the news guy, and so. I think, it's like seeing that separate. So you have your website. I'm curious, why do you think your website is the news, and like, which one do you want to do, like, for what, I guess? Like,
right. That was the thing is people were asking me when I was continuing the calendar, they wanted a place where they could have to download like a full high quality resolution. And before I would email every single person. And can I have it? Oh my gosh. It got exhausting. So, and if I didn't respond, they get really aggravated. Like, I'm going to unfollow you. I was like, okay, wait, just give me a moment. But so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to have the site.
You're like at work, like emailing some like random person on Instagram, like a PDF.
So I just like, I want to have a site where I'm going to put the calendar or any kind of like little news updates. And gosh, it's so much easier just to have like a news little blog on a site. Like, okay, this is a new update. I don't have to film. I don't have to do anything, but here's the calendar. It really does help with the news. I enjoy the news part, talking and then seeing the traffic move to the site, because I can just go through Google Analytics. And like, so that part of me that likes analytics, that's really fun to me, as far as saying how many people that watch my video does it actually translate to the people going over to the site and downloading the article or downloading the beautiful thing too is like, I'm not anti-money either. So there's also, monetization that goes through because they do click on my affiliate links through there as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like I would love to monetize more and create higher end content. So I don't want to go away from news, because news actually does do a lot of funding for like my new. I'm about ready to like literally just tear all this down, and this is about to be all redone.
No, why?
Oh, so I'm working with a 3D modelist. There's a certain display at the Lego house. I've never been there, but I've seen images, and I liked that display that they had with their thing. I don't know if it was just specific Lego ideas, but I'll show it. I'll upload an image to you.
Is it like kind of like the random like orthogonal pieces that are kind of like puzzles a little bit like
that? But I've been working with them for shelving, and I was thinking about even doing something like that if people liked it, because a lot of people like the Lego brick up here, the square. And I've been working with companies, and I actually really enjoy collaborating with companies and making products too. So I was thinking about maybe sectoring that off as well, and that could be the site. Maybe that could stick with Brick Foundation, but just got to figure out now a name for the mods, because I do enjoy the mods. Like, that's for my creative aspect. I love doing that. But Brick Foundation, Brickfo, it's all kind of like centralized together. It's kind of that's what they go for news. It'd be worse for me to separate the news and start that over again when people come to my channel.
Yeah, the mods would be its own thing. You would separate that from what you're doing. I think that's a smart move.
Like Q Studio or I don't know, something like, you know what I mean? Like take like a semblance of it, but nothing, you know, it can be, it's completely different brand, different product line, different everything, you know, different brand, like company collaborations and stuff like that. That's really cool. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. That aspect of actually, you know, working with companies or even like I said before, working with collabs, like with people that do mods, I enjoy that so much, like even almost as much as shooting a video. It's just actually, you know, getting together, creating something and actually having it come to fruition and like, okay, this is the actual product or this is the actual thing. It's the same thing, just like shooting a video and you finally see the final product.
Plus the fact that you get to bring something to light that a lot of people probably haven't seen.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just like I have a certain aesthetic look that I want and I still haven't been able to attain it. So it's just been like eating at me.
Oh yeah, I've had that same feeling.
Just nagging at me the concept, like fix it. And just,
Well, so we have your website. It's a blog essentially at this point. And last week we were talking to Jay's Brick Blog and the relevance behind that. And it's good to know that you technically do the same thing now with like bringing people over to that site. Apparently it's a success for you, correct? Because you're getting a lot of people downloads. You're looking at the analytics, and it's definitely worth it. So the mod thing I think will be really cool to see. And see where that goes, especially because I want to see you use that probe camera. I feel like that's the best video I've ever seen you ever do. It's a very quick, couple-minute video of you just showing off a piece of equipment, but the way that it was filmed,
I was so excited when that finally
was so cool.
I was so excited when that came in.
It's the best flex video I've ever seen of anything not related to Lego, but related to Lego. So I was kind of hoping
it wasn't his like a big Mac Tower unboxing like from like a year and a half ago. I was like, that was big flex. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
And that was crazy. That so UPS completely lost my package, like lost it. They're like, oh, sorry, we don't know where it's at. I was just like, okay. And I called Apple. I thought Apple would be like, oh, we're so sorry, but they're like, oh, sorry. Like I was like, do you know how much money I just spent? Like I would think it's the same customer service that you deal with as if you buy an iPhone. So just like, go.
Oh, who did you have to go through? Whatever it is, that's it. I mean, like, do you?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a night. That sounds like a
nightmare.
A
month for me to get it back.
Goodness.
A month. And the funny thing is that they're like, we think we found it, and then randomly one day, I didn't get a thing from UPS like saying, hey, all they said is we're going to start an investigation, and there was no update for a month, and then just all of a sudden just plop. I open up my door. I come back from like McDonald's or something, and it's there in the middle of my driveway. In my driveway.
Yep. just how long has it been sitting there?
Exactly. I was like, man, are you serious? It just plopped in my driveway.
Not
even no signature required. Nothing.
No, it is supposed to be required a signature.
No post-it on your door. Nothing.
This is during COVID time, so yeah, signature is not really a thing during that time.
Yeah, but they wanted to prove. They were trying to say, you know, is there any like, you know, did they really drop it off? They were trying to say, you know, they didn't believe that, you know, there's no way that they would lose it. And so it was bad.
You know, I get it. Yeah, especially with something like that. I kind of
thankfully that worked out. That would have been unfortunate. But
with that said, I still think the pro video is like, it's like the highlight video when you come onto your page anyway. So you definitely love it too.
Oh man, I had a lot of fun. I was really excited because it's one of those things, like I said before, with what happens to me with shorts. I had this grandiose plans, like, man, these videos are going to be amazing. I'm going to do so many of these now. And then you all of a sudden you just like, I don't know if that video is going to be good enough. Is that idea really nice? Do people still care about a set after, you know, 3-4 weeks after it's already been out? So you do have to do. I do want to do it correctly as far as the sets that I pick to, you know, dive in.
I mean, the Van Gogh one was a pretty good idea, and the end product of what you created was amazing. I'm like, I cannot look at the regular set on its own anymore without adding all that stuff you put to it.
I mean, thanks, man. I really, it's one of those things where I want to start doing that with the moment that I see a release of a Lego set. If I immediately don't say, oh, that's exactly the way I see it, just like the Up House. So it's like, okay, I definitely want to do something with that. It's like I already see the video that I'm going to make for that.
You add more balloons?
Nice.
Oh, add more balloons, the back, everything. I guess people are mad about Kevin.
Oh, dude, no. That's kind of messed up.
What they do to Kevin?
No, there's nothing. I'm gonna get into it.
Oh
my goodness.
Yeah. So, well, we hope to see more mods. Hopefully, you make a new channel. I'll be cool. If not, well, then we'll enjoy whatever content you decide to throw out there. Hopefully, your target is off your back from the Big L or Lego, which I think with the direction that you're going and the way you're playing it out, it's smart, and you're thinking of your kids. So, smart move. But before we destroy the episode, do you want to plug anything? Your site, all that stuff?
If you enjoy Lego news right now, go to brickfo.com or also Brick Foundation. But stay tuned for this Lego Mods channel coming soon.
Also, it's set. you heard it here. It's happening. All right. With that being said, let's roll that music. Have a good night, everybody. Peace. Thank you, man. What a good episode.
Man, it's fun, man. I don't do these. Like, I don't talk to people. I need to do that more often.
It's nice to talk to people who like think about YouTube.
Right.